Welcome back, everybody, to Unpopular Reviews franchise. And this month, all together, we are doing Rocky franchise. And today we get to bring you Rocky 5. We've talked 1. I gave it a thumbs down. We talked 2. I gave it thumbs up. 3 thumbs up. 4 thumbs up. Will I give 5 a thumbs up? Where does Rocky 5 bring us to? Of course, right after part 4. Why? Because that's the way all Rocky's movies start, the way that Rocky before it ended.
Rocky.
How's everybody doing out there?
Everything's okay. What's wrong? What's wrong?
Remember when Mick said when he was fighting, sometimes he'd fight so hard that he was thinking that he broke something inside and he was gonna die, and that's what he said. That's when the angels was pulling on him.
He got his ass beat. So here we go to Rocky 5. Let's talk about it, guys. I'm not here by myself. I'm here with the whole crew, and we'll be right back to talk Rocky 5. And we are back, and we are live from parts unknown, but they could be parts of a studio. If you go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe, and follow down below, especially on the Patreon or here on the YouTube channel. We're gonna get a super chat up here very soon. So you can go ahead and support what you like. Come on, comment below and let us know. But I'm here today. I got the executive consultant. How you doing, executive one? Oh, he dropped it. I bet he edits it out. So let's do it over. How you doing, executive consultant? There it is. And nobody can be the ass of UPR other than the ass of UPR. You know him as the bad guy, Jack, but we just call him the ass. What's going on, bad guy?
Glad to be here. I'm glad to be here to talk about some more Rocky. I was here last week talking Rocky 4, and then I was like, hey, you did so good, kid. Come back to talk more Rocky.
Come on back. So Rocky 5 is just a continuation, the money grab. If Vic was here, you would say, right? Because you got to go from 4 to 5, because if you don't, you can't get to 6 and Balboa increase and everything else that comes. We got 3 more movies to talk about in this franchise as we're on number 5. And 5 is he gets the devastation from Rocky 4. He's really messed up in the head. We get home. Paulie somehow just gives Rocky papers to sign, which Paulie thinks are tax papers. Come to find out, he signed over full power of attorney to their lawyer, to their accountant, who had bad schemes going and lost all of Rocky's money. So all the ads that he took, all that money he spent, all the commercials he couldn't say correctly, is all gone. And they're back to South Philadelphia. And if you remember Rocky 1, because we just did the movie about 2 weeks ago, so you should remember it too. If not, go watch that on YouTube on Popular Review Entertainment as well. So you go back and you see that there's no money involved. So they're back 4 weeks ago. So we're back in the hood, and that's where that leaves us. And Rocky's out here trying to live his life differently. And up comes this young and coming fighter named Tommy Gunn, which, by the way, in real life, may he rest in peace, by the way, he wasn't that great of a fighter. But in this movie, Rocky made him a carbon copy of himself, and that's where the movie takes place. Rocky thinks he got this one more shot to get back in the ring because they're broke. He can't get in the ring. Adrian stops him like she always does. She always shoots a black man down, because Adrian be on him like he a black man. She always saying, "Why you doing it for? Why? Why, Paulie? That's my man. I take all the ass whoopings too." No, you didn't, Adrian. He got all the ass whoopings, and all he thought about was you, because he was so damn punch drunk. He can only say 2 words. Yo, Adrian. So that's when we get to Rocky 5. That's the synopsis of Rocky 5. So before I continue to talk, because I can do that all night long, and you know it, executive consultant, your thoughts of Rocky 5.
This movie was so 90s. And you're like, last week, did you say this movie was so 80s? Yeah, Rocky 4 was so 80. And when Rocky 4 was 80s, Rocky 5 said, we're going into the 90s. The music, the camera work. It was all 90s, baby, all 90s.
I'm sorry. The camera work, I was watching it, so I guess the cut scenes were so, I was like, a commercial break? Why does it keep doing this?
It was 90s. Very 90s. I appreciate the story on this one as opposed to what Rocky 4 is. I didn't feel like everything was as forced as Rocky 4. That was my main issue with Rocky 4. I enjoyed it. That's why I eventually gave it a thumbs up. But everything was just so forced to me. That's why I said the Cold War, Apollo dying, and apparently the guy shooting up. All that was just so. They were trying to tell the story to make it. Right.
No, we saw him shoot up. There's no apparently here.
What I'm saying is, with Rocky 5, it just felt more natural. He signed. He was not the smartest person. He wasn't smart as deal. He had his girlfriend, do some legal work, and then she signed over everything to for the power of attorney, which lost them all their money. And I understand that, right? It makes sense. So he had to go back to square one because that's where he's comfortable. That's how he grew up. That's where he's from. I get that. Made all the sense in the world. Even his wife was like, "Hey, this I have to do this." He said they have. This is why I know. One of my favorite stories that I always tell is the story of the scorpion and the frog. And I'll say this real quick because I don't like telling long stories. I don't want to be winded. I talk too much. It's the scorpion. I'm sorry, a frog was going across the river. Not you. A frog was going across the river, and the scorpion, scorpion needed a ride across the river. Asked the frog for the ride. The frog said, "Why would you do me? You have a stinger. You're going to sting me. It makes no sense for me to do it." Scorpion said, "That doesn't make any sense. If I stung you, we're both going to die because we're both going to drown." Scorpion get on the frog's back. Midway through, Scorpion stunned the frog. Frog turned around as they were both sinking, were dying, and he said, "Why'd you do this? We're both doomed." Scorpion said, "I couldn't help myself. Stinging is all I know." That's what I'm saying with this Rocky thing. And that's where the storyline is coming from because Rocky only knows fighting. And just like Apollo did in the previous movie, he's realizing his time has come, right? Not just because his wife is telling him, "Hey, your time has come." His girlfriend is also telling him, "Hey, your time has come." So Rocky's listening to both of them, saying, "Hey, my time has come." But he wants to live, as they always say that joke, vicariously through somebody. He sees somebody he wants to live with because his manhood is already hurt because Don King came in and said, "Hey, I want you to fight. I want you to fight." His wife says, "No, you can't fight." Actually, no. Mike did a good impersonation. "No, you can't," because that's how all her arguments sound the same. It's like nails on the chalkboard. "You can't do it. You can't do it. Don't do it. You're retired. You're retired." That's what she was doing, right? His girlfriend was funny in this movie. And shout out to Mr. Mike Knox because she mentioned the fact that she's funny throughout the entire movie because she's a real one, right? That's what you said about her? That's what you said about her, right?
Okay.
You said that, right?
Yeah.
His girlfriend is a real G because she said after the knife round, like, get rid of her. And that's what she did. That's what he did. He listened to Paulie and got rid of her. Well, no, he didn't do it. My issue I had with this movie is the son, right?
Oh, no.
Yes,
no,
I have a problem with
no.
that.
I have to defend. I got to face Mr. Sage Stallone, who soap opera worked 8 years over his age, or 7 years older. He was 9 in Rocky 4. All of a sudden, he's like 15 in this movie.
Well, they did that so he could play his real life son, for his real life son to play him.
Right,
But that's fine. I still had a problem with him. Why did I have a problem with Chris? If you've been watching the show for a while, you know Chris's problem with kids. He had too much of this sometimes. Now, granted, he had a bit of a point at one sometimes.
A big point.
Yes, yeah, there's some times where I looked at Rocky like, "Come on, man! Like, I see what you're doing, but damn, the guy's right here. Give him 5 minutes." I'm saying you don't have to show the whole thing. You can't be like, "Oh yeah, that's great, that's great. I gotta go." He's getting okay. But the scene where he left out his house, and his mom was even saying, "Hey, you gotta go," and she's like, "Oh, I know, I'm going by." And you're 15. No, get your ass back in here. You don't just leave my house like that. I don't care how mad you are at your father. You're not. I didn't do it. I'm still over here saying that. You gonna get your ass back in here.
I didn't do it.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, you disrespect your mom at that point. Nah, I have a problem with that. So you can go smoke with the kid that you beat up and the girl that ain't giving you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a problem.
Oh no, she did stick by her side. She said, "You're not gonna hit him, are you?"
She said that as she was walking away. I don't like that crap.
Shout out to my man E from Entourage playing the bully in this movie, by the way.
Right. And I will tell you my last bit of part.
Kevin Conley.
Thoughts. Glad he read that. I'll tell you my last bit of parts when we get to our final thoughts and whether or not this week gets thumbs up, thumbs down. Back on Jack. Floor is yours.
So I had to unmute myself because there was a lot of funny stuff. I loved everything the executive consultant said because he went from one moment saying wife, girlfriend. I didn't know which one it was. I also loved the story about the scorpion and the frog. I never heard that story before. I was like, wow, that's
one of my favorite stories.
Never heard about it. That's really interesting. What did I think about this movie? I kind of call Rocky 5 Rocky Goes Broke. Just like you go from these movies where it's but it goes from all this stuff about Rocky. He's training. He's getting ready to go to. He's training for a fight, and there's doubt, but he's training for a fight. Rocky's broke. He moves back to Philadelphia. Adrian is she's working back at the pet store. Rocky somehow he somehow is able to run a mixed gym. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know. I just didn't
remember they gave the only thing that was left from everything they lost was something that wasn't in their name because Mickey had gifted their gym to their son. So that's why the gym was still there and they still had it because that's the only thing that wasn't in their name.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that because I just did not remember that. What I think about this movie? This movie is kind of comical. I love Paulie. You mentioned Paulie. I love Paulie because he's with the shenanigans. He just caused all kinds of hell. I don't know. He just ruined stuff for me.
He's such a G at the same time, because he just be like, he never wants to take blame.
No, as he should. As he should. He probably sitting there saying,
she bothers me a little bit.
Go ahead. I mean, could I let you guys talk? But you guys could talk over my point. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that. I'm letting you go talk. I was just
I'm messing with you.
He bugs me throughout the whole movie.
He doesn't take responsibility for the thing. I think about Rocky 1. I think about Rocky 1 where Rocky was just this up and coming boxer, right? And obviously he wasn't making no money. By 3, he was a millionaire. I mean, just a millionaire. And he even in Rocky 3, I know I wasn't on it, but I wanted to sit there and say all he wanted was a job. He just said, "I just want a job." I just want a job, man. The stuff with the son. You mentioned something. It was so funny. You mentioned this is so 90s. It really is because wasn't there a scene where he literally just started smoking in front of his mother? Like my mother would kill me, like right there where I stand. And then it's also 90s too, because it also showed that you made a turn without the ear piercings. He had the ear piercings, the leather jacket. Befriended the guy he beat up.
If I can speak in the 90s, that was in 1990 exactly. This movie came out in 1990.
Yeah.
And speaking of a kid from the southwest suburbs of Philadelphia, shout out to Dodge City. I had a couple Caucasian friends that would smoke like that in front of their moms. I think it's a cultural thing and where you are kind of a thing. I'm just being honest. Like they could literally I could go to their house and smoke a cigarette and be like, I go to my house, smoke a cigarette. My mom's whooping my ass, your ass, and your mama's ass letting us smoke a cigarette in front of y'all. So
and the ancestors too. So I think this movie, it's kind of comical to me. Even the final fight, when I think about the final fight, right? And the fighting in the street, which was kind of cool. It was different. I didn't hate it, but it's not gonna be like when I rank these final fights, like, you might say Clubber Lane, you might say Drago, you might even say Creed, or you might even put Creed, and it depends because there was 2 fights with them. I feel like it's at the bottom, but it was different, I mean, it was different.
What the hell was that?
Rocky Balboa, there's a man out here wishing to speak with you. Rocky Balboa.
Rocco, you know who that is, huh?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Oh, look what's in the street.
Yo, Tommy, what are you doing here? You ought to be out there celebrating, right?
But I'm challenging you to a fight. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Fight?
That's right.
You're coming down here with these people asking me if I want to throw hands with you? Is that what this is about?
Yeah, that's...
Now, you knocked him down. Why don't you try knocking me down now?
No. In the ring. Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring. Let's get out of here.
My ring's outside.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I love that. Like, he had to have been in his 40s at this point, and he said, "My ring is outside. I won't die." The final fight. It was a train wreck. It was really a train wreck. But I can look back at it, laugh at it. There were some really cool spots where, like, there was a German. I'm surprised no one broke their neck. Someone, Rocky beat this guy so badly that there was what happened? I think homeboy, he didn't fall on top of a bus, but the bus was there. So, I mean, I'll give my final thoughts, but just some of the things. Rocky 5 was it was wild to me because it was just like he went from the highest of highs and then he went, no disrespect to Philadelphia, but he moved back to Philadelphia. That's it.
Well, with that, we'll be right back, y'all.
You said no violence.
And I meant it when I said it, I swear to God.
I cannot kill.
Duly noted. Look, when this is over, we'll all go camping, all right?
Okay. You just can't kidnap a guy and take his things. That's so illegal.
Sure we can. Victor Kershaw is a criminal prick who deserves bad stuff to happen to him.
We go through with this, nobody gets hurt, right?
Oh, man, we snatch him. There he is! We grab him, he signs a few signatures. We give him a protein shake. You don't even know what happened.
The Sun Jim gang has successfully acquired every asset you had.
What happens now?
Now I go to work.
Now, who is in the suit? That's what I want to know. Who is in the suit? Is it Sherry?
Is it someone else?
I don't know.
You heard Rocky Balboa applied for a license. You want me to fight a guy that I can beat with both hands tied behind my back?
I think there's still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
In here. I think I want to, like, fight. You know, nothing big, small stuff, like locally.
What are you trying to prove, Pop?
I thought you might want to get involved.
Don't you think you're too, old?
I think your brain's losing altitude.
Yeah, but I ain't interested in getting, like, mangled and embarrassed.
People are gonna think you're going crazy.
What's crazy about standing toe-to-toe saying I am?
If this is something that you gotta do, then you do it. Fighters fight.
It's over. Ain't nothing over till it's over.
Where's that from? The 80s?
That's probably in the 70s.
Before we went to break, Ron just sat here and shattered all over my favorite fights, one of my favorite fight scenes in this franchise, as I try to correct of saying all the time, because it wasn't one of the greatest fights of all time, but it's one of the greatest fights in this franchise because it was in Philadelphia. And talking again behind scenes as we give our final thoughts. I mean, we and Chris were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and he asked me the same thing, like, why do you like this fight scene so much? And I thought you mentioned earlier as well, first of all, this fight came along because everything that Rocky did, he gets left behind, right? This is where you get to the infamous scene in the street where he comes in Christmas Day, saw the cigarette scene, he leave out the house when Chris was talking about earlier, the consultant. He's speaking about how your son leave the house like that, and then Tommy shows up with these people. And it's one of the first times. Agent has always stuck for what she wanted for Rocky, and I like her for that part. She said, why you bring these people here? Why would you do that? And they going outside, and Rocky's trying to tell him, like, yo, you know, they're going to use you. They're not here for you. And Rocky, you know, he pulls off, and he's saying, like, I didn't want this for you. I didn't want this. This is not what I wanted. And that scene we played for Jack was because of this scene right here, because Tommy, the robot of Rocky, gets no credit.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the newest, the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, Tommy the Machine Gun.
Everybody knows that Kane is just a paper champion.
Yeah, what do you mean by paper champion? It means Kane's title was manufactured. He never won it from Balboa.
Gentlemen, get a bar break. Union Kane is for real.
Tommy, you ever think you're gonna get out from underneath Rocky Balboa's shadow?
Man, I won the title. What more do I have to do?
I'll tell you what you have to do.
You gotta fight some real opponents, right?
Man, I beat the best tonight. The best. This guy's up there. He doesn't even deserve a title.
And
I did want to sit here and say, if I can just ask real quick. So, when you're a boxer and you're in your late 30s, that's pretty much you're really at the tail end of your career, correct?
Yeah. Like most.
So, and I'm trying to figure out the time period, everything, because there was this jump thing with the son. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you didn't beat Rocky. Wasn't Rocky at that point just too old?"
Well, you got to remember that if you follow the timeline, Tommy comes into Rocky's life within a year of Rocky's last fight, which is against Drago, which at the time people don't pay attention to as well. We did in Rocky 4. He came out of retirement to fight him. So you're right. He was well over retirement. Why this was even a story push from, to me, one of the worst fathers in history, Mr. George Washington. Richard Grant played the role. I know him, or Richard Grant, I'm sorry, he plays the role from The Game. I love him in The Game. Everything he plays in, he's just a horrible pop, a horrible father, but he played the hell out of his Don King role. But yeah, he wanted the money. It was about the money, and no boxing could get money without having that top star. And that's even today. That's why you still have older guys come out, because they need that payday, and they can't get, if that guy's not known, doesn't matter who they're beating. You know what I mean? But that scene, and it goes to one of my favorite scenes. And again, that's why I personally love Rocky 5, bad guy Jack, because I didn't hear no bell.
He's a punk, Rocky, I'm telling you. Balboa street fight. You a prize fighter. Don't be a damn.
Hey, you don't own me. Take it easy, Tommy. You don't own me. Take it easy.
Nobody does.
You want my respect.
We'll come and get it. I loved you, man. You know that? Me was supposed to be like this, Tommy. You blew it. You... Watch out!
That's him. Now get up one more round. Get up! Don't lay it down like this guy hard. Come on! Come on! He's no machine. I didn't hear no bell. Get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you.
I didn't hear no bell.
And the music starts with "Go for it!" I love Rocky V. I do got a couple more scenes I would play, but I'll wait and get my final thoughts last, as I got a couple more things to say. So, executive consultant, I'm gonna start with you. Your final thoughts and thumbs up or thumbs down for this movie.
Well, I already said I enjoyed it better in Rocky 4, and I gave Rocky 4 a thumbs up. So naturally, I'm going to give Rocky 5 a thumbs up. Actually, truthfully told, this is actually so far my favorite one. Now, that being said, I will say two scenes that I really, really enjoyed. One scene I enjoyed was the one where I forget his name now, but the guy who won the championship, and Rocky was at home watching it, and he was like mimicking exactly what he should do.
Give him the credit,
stuff like that. I thought that was very, very well done and directed. I liked it. I liked the psychology behind it. I'm good when it comes to psychology, so I really did love that scene. And when I saw that scene, I said, "Oh yeah, this is going to be my favorite one," because I thought it was very good. Two, for this scene right here.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them! Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness! You were my brother, Anakin.
I love you.
I loved you.
We were supposed to be like this. That scene was great. No, I seriously though, I like the final fight scene between them because remember I said, and I can't remember it was 3 or 4, where I said the problem I was having was it's a little bit redundant because all the last scenes ended the same way with the same fight. So him coming out and him saying, and Bad Guy Jack alluded to what he said he liked it, but they ended at the same time. That's pretty much what you were saying, and I understand that. But him saying, "Hey, my ring's outside," I was like, "Oh shit, let's take it to the street." Now, not saying I grew up in the street, but I grew up in the street somewhat. So I appreciated that, right? Now, I'm the kind of guy that said, let's go outside. And as soon as you step outside, I'm hiding behind a rock and waiting till you turn around and then slicing your head off. But I appreciated it completely. And the fact that he went out there, when he went out there, he proved it. And shout out to Don King, because he said he's a street fighter, right? This is not exactly how you want to do it. Plus, you're not giving me my payday, right? But this is not exactly how you want to do it. And then they showed the fact of the difference because when you did go out there, Rocky immediately whipped his ass until he hit an executive consultant and attacked him from behind. And then that's when he started taking over. And then they show that thing, and then Burgess Meredith doing Burgess Meredith thing, stealing scenes, even in death. His old ass.
I thought you would like that scene.
I
honestly,
loved
when I picked that, I had to feel like that we did last week, showed the 80s montage. Oh, Mickey loves you.
Yeah, it was great. He berated him and then he said, "Mickey loves you," right? That also sounded like a Chris. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I also sound like, I will tear you a new one, but in the end, you'll know how much I do care. But the thing is, it was really, really well done. And the fact, and I wasn't like, oh, damn, are they really going to fight in the ring after this? And then when I saw that it wasn't, this was actually the final fight. I was like, I like that. I like the fact that he did something different. I like the fact that, one, he stood true to his word. He was not going to get back in the ring. He needed to be retired. No miracle. We'll talk about it because I know the subplot of Rocky Balboa. But there was not going to be any miracle. You know, I can get back in ring. I got to get one more
Well, the
fight.
guy
and stuff
said
like that.
we can make that go away. He had enough money, the Don King character,
right?
He
can make
we can make that go away.
Right, exactly.
We can find a doctor that will say yes.
But I'm glad they did not go that route. Shout out to Daniel Bryan. I'm glad they did not go out that route, right? And they stuck true to that for one, because I'm honoring his wife's the promise he made to his wife, being there for his kid, and the fact that maybe it was time for it to be over.
Mm-hmm.
And it was over, because I'm sure they didn't have in mind Rocky Balboa until they made the movie 16 years later. But I thought that was really good. I thought it was a really good
1990
ending.
to 2006.
2006. I thought it was a really good ending, and I appreciated that. And that's why it's going to be very hard for any Rocky movie thereafter to beat this Rocky movie to me, which is by far, it was my favorite. So thumbs up for me.
Wow. Jack, I want your thumbs up or thumbs down, but that's hands down the greatest fight in the movie.
Not for nothing. I forgot to mention that as much as I hated the kid, when he said, "No, he took my room," I cracked up laughing. I thought that was really good, so I wanted to shout that out. Thank you for playing that clip.
You got to play that. That's the greatest fight. I'm sorry, he knocked into a septic bus. Sorry, you knocked him into
that was good, but I love that. I love that fight.
I
really did like this movie.
I said it again.
But that's what
I said. I said one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, I know, but you always like, but without the greatest, that's what you said. But that's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's you. That's you, Mike.
That's me.
You know, I tease, but I can't. You know, it's fine. But
he knocked him into a septic bus. You should accept that. He knocked him into a septic bus. Jack.
I will also say, apparently they showed that fight on TV, right? Yeah,
that reason why it was good. It was a free fight on NBC.
Right, but where were the cops? Okay, they were in Philadelphia. And you tell me, tell me, Mom Dukes and the son.
The cops were watching the fight.
Well, Rocky's a city hero, which is sad because we have 1.5 million people in that city. But he's a city hero, and he has a statue. And he said, "Hey, it's Rocky. Let him go. Let him murder the guy. If he dies, he dies." All right, go ahead, back out, Jack.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Final thoughts, Jack.
There was a thing, and then I lost my train of thought. But nonetheless, I give it a thumb. And I was interrupted, so I don't know what to say. But it was a really. I give it a thumbs up. It's my third favorite Rocky movie. The final fight scene, the final fight was just totally different. There were some thoughts I had, and I just lost them. But nonetheless, I give it a thumbs up. It was great. It was really. It was a good movie. I sit there and go like, I would watch this back again. I do want to say handshake because I do like soundtrack. I love music, and the end is Elton John. What's it called? Making of a Man or something like that. And I love I actually like the track. It's really good. Like you hear it, and I love that at the end they have. Because I can't help but believe that they really thought this was going to be the last Rocky. Because they played all the pictures from the first one, you know, like the clips from the first movie, the second, third, fourth. So I really enjoyed that kind of.
Should have been the last Rocky.
It should have been. Rocky 5 should have been the end. It should have been the end. But once again, they realized we can make something out of this. So, I give it a thumbs up. I mean, it's really not a horrible movie. Like I said, I call Rocky 5 Rocky Goes Broke. Like it's hilarious.
You said Rocky goes broke.
Rocky goes broke. So I'll give it a thumbs up.
Hey, Rock, y'all blast the bomb, huh? Touch me and I'll sue. Come on, Pug. Touch me and I'll sue.
Sue me for what?
Sue me for what? Because he had nothing.
Thumbs up for me. All the way. It's one of my favorite Rocky films. I do rank it further back in the list. as we and Jack talked about it off air, where I place it in the Rocky franchise. I place it right next to 1 because I just love. I think 2 just a better overall film. I think 3 being the Mr. T element, having the wrestling implement in it as a child, I think stood out too. The Eye of the Tiger song is one of the most iconic songs ever. 4, living in the 80s, being an 80s baby during the Cold War and stuff like that. So I understood how, I grew up a Boy Scout. Even though I am from the streets and in the hood and all that, but my mother had me in Boy Scouts. So I just love this film from just every single aspect of what films are. And again, the fight scene alone to me is what made this film. And that scene, you talked about it, Chris, written, directed by Sylvester Stallone himself. So that scene in the basement, that's him. And I do think that's one of the, and I'm mad I didn't get a clip for you for that, because that scene, you can see Paulie gets scared. Adrian's looking at him, Son's looking at him. And Son said from the beginning, you see something's off with my father. Rocky, his dome was already gone. It was completely gone then. So for me, thumbs up in this franchise so far. That's 4 up, 1 down for me. 1 and I, you heard it. Go back and watch it. Don't want to hear what we got to say. Comment below. Let us know. Go find that show out. But with that being said, because, frankly, that's all I ever say all the time, because with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Ladies, gentlemen, with that being said, and with that being said, people, with that being said, God, with that being said, with that being said, of all time, but with that being said, God, with that being said, we'll be right back. And we'll be back right next week with Rocky Balboa. And I will tell you why Balboa was needed. We out of here, y'all. For the executive consultant, Bad Guy Jack, make sure you guys go follow NXT and Unpopular Review Wrestling and everything that is entertainment, wrestling, and sports. We got you right here. Fingers.
Thank you.